Breakfast and have a coffee. February the 19th. How are you? I'm good.
Please have your seat so we can get the evening off to a start. Thank you. Very warm welcome to all of you. My name is Jagdish Bajaj, and I'm the Vice President and Director, Programs and Events for the Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce. It is my privilege to welcome you all to this dinner reception hosted by the ICCC in honor of His Excellency Nirmal Verma, welcoming him to his appointment as the High Commissioner of India to Canada. Sir, allow me to extend a very warm welcome to you on behalf of the ICCC and all of us present today. I would like to thank our members, guests, and dignitaries for being here tonight as we begin our formal session. We will start the evening with remarks from the President of the ICCC, Naval Bajaj.
Thank you, Jagdish, and welcome, friends. I sincerely thank all of you to find time on Sunday evening to come to our reception in honor of His Excellency Nirmal Verma, the new High Commissioner of India to Canada. It is an honor for our chamber to be among the first Indo-Canadian organization to formally introduce His Excellency to the business and the diaspora community in Toronto. I welcome Honorable Jason Kenney, Canada's Minister for Citizenship, Immigration and Multiculturalism, to our reception, and Honorable Bal Gosal, Canada's Minister of State for Sports. Their presence today is a strong indication of the importance Canada gives to its relations with India. The Consul General of India in Toronto, Preeti Saran, contribution to enhancing Canada-India relation is second to none. She is a special friend of the Chamber, and successive presidents of the Chamber have been able to contribute to Canada-India relations because of her support, guidance, and direction. Thank you, Preeti ji, and welcome. I welcome other distinguished guests from the federal and the provincial parliaments and the members of the Indian Diplomatic Corps. A special welcome to Her Worship Susan Fennell, the Mayor of Brampton. I also welcome my colleagues on the board of our chamber and acknowledge, our sponsors. Your Excellency, our chamber is the oldest Indo-Canadian business organization in Canada. We have completed 35 years. We are also the largest Indian diaspora organization in Canada. In the acknowledgement of our role in enhancing Canada-India bilateral ties and representing the interest of the Indian diaspora, the Government of India honored our chamber with the prestigious Pravasi Bharatiya Samman in 2012. That honor came to us because of the collective efforts put in by our members, directors, and the presidents in the past. We have with us some of our past presidents, and I would be remiss in my duties if I didn't acknowledge their past contribution and presence today. Your Excellency, our chamber has dedicatedly worked for the last 35 years to improve the bilateral economic relations between Canada and India. We have done so by suggesting the right direction, influencing policy, and by highlighting the role of the Indian diaspora in creating a network of the economic opportunities between their two homelands. Few years ago, when the Canada's Prime Minister, Honorable Stephen Harper, visited India, the relations took an upward trajectory. A vertebral shift in the paradigm is occurred in the relations, which has led to a new recognition both in Canada and in India of the future possibilities, especially in the economic sphere. The relationship has picked up momentum following the second visit of the Prime Minister Harper to India in November 2012. This enhancement of the ties is a vindication of our chamber's vision and efforts for the last 35 years. However, mere recognition of the need to have better relations is not enough. We will need to translate the potential of a glorious future into a reality by taking one step at a time. the signing of the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement by the end of 2013 will definitely pave the way for more businesses and will help in achieving the 15 billion two-way trade within the next couple of years. Our Chamber has continued to take the new initiatives in its effort to give a new impetus and a new direction to the bilateral ties. Again, these initiatives in our support to small businesses, there is a strong tendency for the Indian diaspora in Canada to take to enterprise. And our Chamber has supported their endeavors and helped them globalize. As a correlative to this initiative, we have also forged the link with the suburban cities in Canada because that is where the small businesses tend to congregate. With these twin objectives, we launched our multi-city, multi-sector India mission in 2012. We partnered with Markham last year, and we partnered with Brampton and Markham this year. Our India mission 2013 was an extraordinary success. Over 100 small businesses participated in the mission, and the mission created opportunities for them to expand their business and develop competencies to turn into the global entities. The mission successfully connected Canadian small businesses to the Indian economic organizations with the significant representation in the SME sector and highlighted a growing interest in Canada amongst this group. The fulsome support we got from the Government of Canada and the Government of India underlined the correctness of our path. Minister Kenney and Senator Seth were among the decision makers who were supported us at the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in Kochi and Vibrant Gujarat 2013 Summit in Gandhinagar, along with Member of Parliament Patrick Brown and Devendra Suri. At Vibrant Gujarat, where Canada was the partner country and our chamber was a partner organization, ICCC was the largest international delegation. Bilateral relations between our countries will improve when we constantly define them to meet rising needs. One of the most pressing and the immediate needs of the present time is the need to build brand Canada in India and brand India in Canada. This will involve moving away from the stereotypes and creating a new awareness among the businesses in both Canada and India to what each has to offer to other and how both can benefit. This is the new direction that we will have to take. Your Excellency, you will be happy to note that our chamber has launched their efforts in earnestness. During the 8th City India mission, our endeavor was to create awareness and conduct a brand building exercise that would benefit both the countries. We will continue to work with all the tiers of the government, both here in Canada and India. We will also work with businesses, big and small, with the professional, academics, and the cultural ambassadors. We will carve an image for both Canada and India that educates businesses to take the calibrated business decisions that lead to a faster growth in trade. In conclusion, Your Excellency, I will say that our efforts will bear the fruits only when we have your support and guidance. On behalf of all our guests this evening, I congratulate you once again on your appointment as the High Commissioner of India to Canada and look forward to a meaningful working relation between our Chamber and the High Commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, High Commissioner Varma, Consul General, parliamentary colleagues, Mayor Fennell, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to be here to join with the Indo-Canadian Chamber of Commerce in welcoming to Canada such a distinguished representative of the world's largest democracy to Canada in High Commissioner Admiral Nirmal Verma. Congratulations on your appointment, sir. As you know, as you have been briefed, as you have observed and just heard from the Val, the Canada-India relationship is at an historic high point. This was so evident to me in my participation, my recent trip to India, and to see the phenomenal presence, vigor, and success of the ICCC delegation at Kochi and in Gujarat. I don't need to go through the long laundry list of accomplishments that have moved the Canada-India relationship from what was 35 years of being stuck in the deep freeze, sort of like the Canadian weather this week, to a level of activity and dynamism that we've never seen before. And this has been typified by the visit, the official visit to Canada by Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh Ji in 2010, the first visit to Canada of an Indian head of government since 1974. Followed, of course, by the 6-day visit of Prime Minister Stephen Harper to India last November, the longest bilateral visit of a Canadian Prime Minister to any other country that we know of on record. And if that is not a strong enough indication to you, High Commissioner, of how focused our government is on this relationship, then we should point to the enormous expansion of Canada's footprint in India, the opening of our consulates and trade offices in Kolkata, in expansion in Mumbai, our opening of new office, consulate in Bangalore, our presence in Ahmedabad, and all across the country, all across India. It can be said that for a long while, Canada's India policy was largely a Northern India policy. Now it is an all-of-India policy. And I've said this, I get in trouble for it, but I'll say it again. For too long, Canada's Asia policy was really a China policy, but now it is a policy that is at least as much, and I would argue more focused on a country with whom we share a commonality of values and interests, another great democracy, an English-speaking, common law, Commonwealth country that shares our values and that shares a human bridge represented by the 1.2 million Canadians of Indian origin. And let me tell you, friends, that I saw, Naval just talked about the ICCC strategy during the recent delegation being a branding strategy. I was, frankly, much beyond my expectations, surprised with the degree to which we have established a very strong and high brand for Canada in India. At Kochi, I think I was the first person of non-Indian origin to have the honor of speaking at the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas celebration, in this case in Kochi. I was the first Canadian minister on an official visit to Goa, and of course the home region of tens of thousands of Canadian Goans. And then when I went to Ahmedabad, when I went to Gujarat, I was amazed. As soon as I walked into the airport, there were Canadian flags all over the place. And then as soon as I walked into the enormous convention center, there were Canadians all over the place with the largest international delegation. And then I met, following a meeting of the Canadian delegation with Chief Minister Modi, I met separately with him, and he said to me, the Chief Minister of the most vibrant regional economy in India, said to me, I will never forget that Canada was here first, and Canada is a very strong and special friend of Gujarat. And then at the closing ceremony, when I had the honor of sitting between Chief Minister Modi and Cyrus Mistry, the incoming chairman of Tata Industries, Chief Minister Modi, in his typically low-profile and low-key style, in his closing speech, I think he mentioned Canada some 25 times. Now, our High Commissioner, Stuart Beck, who's been doing a great job, told me that the UK and Aussie High Commissioner and the American Ambassador, but on the phone to him immediately saying, "What are you Canadians doing?" I'll tell you what we're doing. We're getting ahead of the race for the developing markets in India. We are getting serious about this relationship. We're moving beyond just diplomatic niceties to real concrete deliverables. And this, I would submit to you, Admiral Varma, is, I hope, your challenge during your tenure here. The table has been set. The foundation has been laid. Now we have to cement the progress. Now we have to move to final ratification of the Foreign Investment Protection and Promotion Agreement. We have to move to full implementation of the Nuclear Cooperation Agreement, and we have to get that comprehensive economic partnership agreement done so that these brilliant entrepreneurs and hundreds more like them around this country can turn the open door into wealth for Canada and India. That's our challenge. So, Admiral, finally let me say, on behalf of our government, I think we are honoured that the government of India has sent to Canada as representative of the world's largest democracy a man of such distinction as yourself. As the former chief of the naval staff of a marine nation, as a man of your distinction of service, this is a clear indication of the priority in which the government of India has placed on its relationship with Canada, for which we are grateful. We look forward to working with you, and we hope that you survive your first winter in Ottawa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister.
Kenney mentioned India and Canada relationships are at their height. They're very important to both countries.
Thank you. Good evening. Minister Jason Kenney, Minister Balgosal, High Commissioner, Admiral Linbar Verma, Your Worship, Mayor of Brampton Susan Fennell, Members of Parliament, Members of Provincial Parliament, Senator Asha Seth, other distinguished dignitaries, and my very dear Prabasi Bhartis. I'm indeed delighted to be present here, as always. As has been mentioned before, that I've had the pleasure, during my 4 years stay here in Toronto, to have worked very closely with the Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce, whether it has been in the process of organizing the Prabasi Bharatiya Divas that was held in Toronto in 2011 as part of the celebrations of the Year of India and Canada, or whether it has been on account of other Prabasi Bharatiya Divas functions that have been held in India, where the Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce has always taken such a vibrant delegation that of course represents Canada so well. But I'm always proud to see that the members of our Indian diaspora represent our country, India, so well here in the country of their adoption. So I want to just take this opportunity to thank Naval Bajaj, its president, and its very dynamic board for the great work that they have done, along with the past presidents with whom I've had a very close association. In particular, I'd like to congratulate Naval and his team for this great mission that has returned from India. It is called Mission Impossible turned Mission Accomplished, a very awesome mission, I should say, judging by all the reports. So really heartiest congratulations to you on that. We are very fortunate that Honorable High Commissioner is being honored here this evening. I had the pleasure of receiving him last year when he came to Canada in his official capacity, then as Chief of Naval Staff, a position that he served for 3 years. He's had a very long and distinguished career, and of course you'll be hearing about it more formally later when he's introduced. But I had the pleasure of receiving him at that time, and I can tell you how privileged I am and how privileged my colleagues in the consulate are to have him as our new High Commissioner. As someone else said before, the fact that he's present here today as the new High Commissioner is symptomatic and symbolizes the importance that Government of India attaches to its relations with Canada. And there could have been no better representation or a message given from the government than to have posted His Excellency Admiral Linbar Verma in this position. So thank you so much Thank you so much, therefore, for providing this opportunity, for inviting him and honoring him. I really thank you for that. And have a wonderful evening. Namaste.
Gentlemen, head table guests, the reason we are here this evening, first and foremost, is to welcome a very distinguished gentleman into our relationship with India. You are so welcomed into our community. I know we're not at the Novotel Hotel in Brampton because we don't have a Novotel Hotel in Brampton. But I certainly made that pitch in every city in India that if anybody's in the hotel business, well, Brampton would be very delighted to have that investment. Ninth largest city, but you can't sleep over in our downtown unless you stay at my staff's home. He lives downtown. But seriously, I wanted to very personally welcome you as well. We're just delighted that you could be amongst us. I'm also so delighted to share the podium with Minister Kenney, who has become quite the international popular traveler. Everyone knows Minister Kenney. It doesn't matter where. In fact, I'm at events that you can't make because you're at 3 others, and people say, is the minister coming? And I'm reading your tweets, and I'm thinking, I don't think so, but he would want to be here if he could be here. I can tell you, Joseph Cardinal Glemp, His Excellency, who passed away last week, there was a special memorial service at the Polish community this morning. They said, I know Minister Kenney's coming. I was like, is he even back in Canada? Well, here you are. I was receiving tweets here. So he's everywhere. But aren't we lucky to have a minister that is everywhere, highly energetic, and always with a smile? That's the face of Canada, right there.
To introduce our special guest of honor, His Excellency Nirmal Verma. Just a brief introduction to His Excellency. He began his career with the Indian Navy at the young age of 19. He studied at leading naval institutions around the world, including the Royal Naval Staff College in the UK and the Naval War College in the US. During his exemplary career, he was in charge of the Naval Academy in Goa and commandeered several Navy ships, including INS Ranveer and INS Virat, India's aircraft carrier. Among his decorations are the Param Vishisht Seva Medal and the Ati Vishisht Seva Medal. And like Madam Preeti Saran said, he became Admiral Nirmal Verma, the Chief of the Indian Navy, in August of 2009. And retired in August of 2012. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce him. And sir, before I ask you to come on stage, I know Minister Kenney alluded to the extreme cold winters in Canada, especially Ottawa. But I assure you, and I'm sure you've discovered that despite the coldest of climates in Canada, we have some of the warmest hearts in the world. Please join me in welcoming His Excellency Nirmal Verma.
Thank you very much. Minister Kenney, Minister Gosal, Mr. Bajaj, President of ICCC, Your Worship, Ms. Susan Fennell, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I'd like to thank ICCC, its President, Shri Naval Bajaj, and the Board of Directors for organizing this event. You know, I had always grown up hearing that one of the most serious things followed in the Western world is the weekend. And I must say that the very presence of so many people here on a Sunday, steered by the ICCC, just goes to show why ICCC is ticking and why Canada is progressing the way it is. So that's one belief that I had, which I'm going to be changing. I must congratulate the ICCC on the very recent successful trade mission to India, including participation in the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in Kochi. I hope it was not all work, because Kochi is one of our, or Kerala, the state of Kerala is one of the most sought after destinations for tourists. So I hope you had some time there. But we, like somebody else mentioned, Minister Kenney, we also follow your tweets at the High Commission to get to know what's happening as far as the minister is concerned with his visit to India. And I'm certain this trade mission provided opportunities for networking and exploring possibilities for further collaboration between our two countries, especially in the small and medium enterprise sector. You know, this is one sector where the bulk of our businesses are at this point of time. Yes, for reasons of scale, perhaps it's not the most efficient model, but certainly that's the way it is now, and I hope that was factored. The mission was explained as accomplished, so I'm sure like it happens, if this mission is accomplished, there are many more waiting on the sides for the next one. And in your worship, the mayor, we already have a captain of the ship who's volunteered for the next mission. As the largest and the oldest diaspora body of entrepreneurs and professionals of Indian origin, the membership of ICCC represents a microcosm of the people of Indian origin living abroad. Indeed, that of India. You reflect India's diversity, our long-standing tradition of pluralism, secularism, our enduring commitment to democracy and the rule of law. Our vibrant culture and a strong entrepreneur spirit is also reflected in your organization. We in India are very proud of your achievements and your enormous successes in all walks of life, including in politics, government, business, education, and media. You are a mirror of India's heritage and of our modern-day progress. You understand the business cultures of both countries and bring strong connections from both the sides in ensuring that we both move forward. You are truly global Indians, best poised to exploit the immense potential for doing business with India, especially in the current economic situation. As an integral part of Canada's vibrant society, you act as a bridge of friendship between our two countries. This was recognized by our two Prime Ministers during the recent visit of Prime Minister Harper to India. I was very fortunate to have been associated in this visit throughout, including participating in all the discussions that took place, as well as the rest of the 5 days outside of Delhi, where again, I must tell you, a lot of business did get transacted. Certainly, Mr. Gosal got his cricketing skills together again in Bangalore. This visit has added new depth to our relationship, which has the potential for a very strong economic partnership. You know, today 40% of India's staple food of pulses is imported from Canada. So in fact, every time there's an Indian family having a meal, be it a lunch or dinner, there is a presence of Canada on our tables. Each time, each family of 1.5 billion, as the Honorable Mayor said. Canada's rich natural resources and sophisticated technological and educational base gives us a great promise to deepen our engagement. Canada can be a true partner in India's infrastructure development and pursuit for food security as well as energy security. Talking of infrastructure development, there is a requirement of investments of $1 trillion over the next 5 years. And the very fact that today our finance minister has been visiting various industrial hubs across the world, or financial hubs, basically to seek investments in the sector, because at least 50% of this is all got to come from private investment. And this is something which you're looking forward to. And I'm sure that if there have been certain impediments in the past in terms of being able to invest amounts, they are being addressed, and you'll find the going much easier. When we talk about food security, this is certainly Canada's strength, and there's much that we can gain from it. And when we talk about food security, it's not just the crops grown on the field, but it's a larger issue of food processing and the cold chain. Today in our country, for various reasons, we have not been able to have that efficiency in utilization of what we grow. There's a fair amount which does not reach the marketplace or the consumers, and it's lost on the way. And once we have this sector looked at, in fact, automatically you can say the food production of India would have gone up by that amount. Similarly, as far as energy is concerned, if you see the growth that is taking place in our country, it is an energy-hungry country. When you look at the pricing of gas, which is a surplus as far as Canada is concerned, and we're also aware that the offtake to US is reducing, there is a great opportunity here. You just have to compare the pricing at which gas is sold to the US and the cost at which we are buying it in Asia and including in my country. And there have been calculations done that even if our companies invest in the infrastructure here so that this gas can be carried all the way to India, it would still be available to us at much lesser prices than what we are getting in the world market. So I see this as another area in which there would be much that is happening. And during Prime Minister Harper's visit, our Prime Minister has in fact appointed the Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commissions specially to handle this task of energy cooperation. There is also enormous potential for cooperation in areas of science and technology, and I'd say including defense technology. It's not that because I'm from a former member of the armed forces and I'm standing here, but I certainly feel when I see the type of the technological base that is available in Canada and how other countries with similar or perhaps maybe a shade lesser are able to utilize this sector to its fullest potential. And it will be my intention to actually work on this during my tenure. Higher education and clean energy are other areas where we would be working together. Similarly, with the institution of the strategic dialogue at the ministerial level, we can expect a much larger content as far as the relationship is concerned. As you know, in the last 4 years, the global economy has dealt with two major financial crises, both emanating from the developed world. The Indian economy has not been immune to the consequences of these crises. From an impressive average annual GDP growth of over 8% between 2004 and 2010, our growth declined to 6.5% in 2011-12 and could possibly, or is going to be slightly lower than 6% in the current fiscal year. But we are optimistic that in the next financial year, our financial year is from the 1st of April till 31st March the next year, that we are going to be doing much better. One thing I missed mentioning is about the agreements which were mentioned by some of the speakers earlier, the CEPA, the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. It's not really a Bollywood story, and I don't think there are rough edges, but there are substantive issues, but they are being addressed. And I must say that I've seen many major similar agreements discussed between Delhi and capitals abroad, and I can see the momentum with which this is moving. The number of meetings that have taken place, I mean, yes, there would be areas on a complex agreement like this, and especially in democracies, you have to carry everyone with you, that we are finding common meeting ground with each subsequent phase of the meeting that we're taking, and all of us are very confident that it should happen by end of the year. And in fact, the bilateral investment promotion treaty that was to take, which was, we were hoping to have got signed during Prime Minister Harper's visit, but did not, was basically that we have this treaty already, or similar treaties existing with a number of countries, and there have been some legal issues which have come up with some of the countries we have signed this agreement with. They're being addressed, and I see this happening also reasonably fast. So as I mentioned that we look at the coming financial year to be much better for us, and despite our domestic constraints and challenges, we are confident that our strong economic fundamentals, backed by sound policies, will enable us to return to a higher growth path. We have just embarked on a 12 5-year plan with the ambition to sustain an annual growth rate of 8%. We need rapid growth and a healthy economy to meet the aspirations of an increasingly young India and make our economic development more inclusive and more sustainable. Government of India has therefore taken steps to boost domestic and foreign investment, accelerate project implementation, and reform capital markets and the tax system. You would have seen a spate of reforms that have come in the past few months, and I can assure you you're going to see many more of them in the coming months. We have already cleared foreign direct investment in the multi-retail sector. It was a very difficult process politically, but the government was firm and we went through it. Those of you who have been following the news on the Indian sector, which you must be, after all, there was a vote of no confidence brought for the government in power, and yet wider counsel prevailed and it went through. Although, of course, one of the coalition partners broke away from the existing coalition in the process. More recently, we've had a gradual reduction of the subsidies which were given for diesel. It translates into extra income as far as the government is concerned. We can expect to see certain legislation brought about in terms of pension funds and the insurance sector, which would also translate into cooperation with Canadian businesses in this sector. Manufacturing is today just 16% of our GDP. This is one sector which has got my government's focus, and the intention is to take it to 25 to 26% by 2025. The intention is that today we are turning out at least 10 to 12 million young people from the education system who have to be given jobs. And if we have to produce 100 million jobs by 2025, we have to grow at a certain rate. So it's a process which has to happen. In order to meet the developmental aspirations of our people, we will require, as I said, enormous resources, reforms in policies and institutions, which is happening, and more will happen, new models of public-private partnership and community participation, and innovation-driven science and technology. While India's huge investable resources and large markets give us confidence, strength, and stability, we see international economic and technological partnerships as an integral part of our growth strategy. This is an important objective of our engagement in our region and across the world. In this context, we regard the Indian diaspora and the ICCC as vital partners and participants in India's social and economic development. The ICC has played an important role in forging closer relations between India and Canada for more than 3 decades. The Government of India was delighted to partner with ICCC in organizing PBD Canada in Toronto in 2011. There was a major highlight of the celebration of the Year of India in Canada. In recognition of its contributions towards the promotion of India-Canada ties, the Chamber was very deservedly conferred the prestigious Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award in 2012 by the President of India. We are looking forward to further forging close ties with Canada, and especially with respect to the economic sector, to take it forward at a much greater pace, and it will be my endeavor during this tenure to ensure that we move at that pace. In case there are any roadblocks that seem to be coming, as soon as I get to know of them, I'll make sure that these are conveyed to the appropriate authorities in my government so that they can be addressed right away. And, life in Navy was much simpler, but I'd like to end with a Navy order which perhaps will take the India-Canada relationship on a similar process. So I'm going to say, full speed ahead, both engines, steer north.
So, ladies and gentlemen, now we have a clear direction. It is north, and I think will exceed the goals that we've set for ourselves. And pretty soon we'll be back at the drawing board trying to figure out what that next number should be above the $15 billion that we're aiming for at the present time. There's no doubt